we're back, and today we are talking sharing is caring. I'm Orly. We have Dottie here, and
Hey guys.
sharing is caring. I feel like I get tongue twisted on some of these, and they're not even that hard to say. But sharing is caring. There's a few different things that we're going to talk about today on how that could impact your business and how that could how sharing is gonna make things better for you. So, Dottie, do you want to share? Do you want to share and
I
let
will
people
be
know what
happy
sharing is
to
caring?
share. So Orly, there's so many things that go into this, but I just want to start out by saying, first of all, your customer is not a mind reader. So if there is something out there that they need to know, it's up to you to let them know that, right?
Yeah.
And that is all the way around. So they don't know what programs you have. They don't know what weekly programs you offer, or what party packages you have, or what your hours of operation are. They don't know any of that unless you tell them, right?
I agree. Yeah.
And so it's very important that you make sure that the information that they need to know or that they're looking for. So I always like to put myself in the customer's shoes and go, okay, now what do I need to have on the website that a customer is going to be coming to my website looking for? Because the last thing I want is for them to go to find something on my website and to find out it's not there, right?
Yeah.
Or worse yet, that it's there, but it's out of date. That's terrible. So definitely we need to make sure that all of the relevant information that we're getting out to the customers, and we are letting them know everything that they need to know. And especially today with, some centers have modified their hours of operation. And it's still the old hours on their social media, or perhaps it's still old hours on their website. And you're sharing, but you're sharing the wrong information, and that sends out a really bad message. So definitely part of this episode is devoted to making sure that you're sharing that relevant information, right, Orly?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think a big question before even sharing, a big question to always ask is, hey, have you been into our center before? That's a good question I like to ask, just because you could share things that they might not know about. Someone in town might know your story. They might know, oh, yeah, you're the owner, or the owner's from here, or, but if the first question you ask is, have you been into our center before? They might say, no, we're from 3 hours away. We're just passing through. Then, to share other things that are locally in town. You might share your story on how long you've been open. People are interested in
Mhm.
those things. I get people all the time that ask, like, oh, who owns this, or and I share my story about how I came out to Wisconsin because I moved from many states over. I was in Arizona, and that's always a big conversation starter, because, oh, Arizona, wow, how are you liking the cold here? That always turned into a big thing, and they remember those things. They
I'm
like that
sure
you
they
take the
do.
time to talk to them and share your story. And they also remember that they come in, the next time they're in, they're like, hey, this guy's from Arizona. They tell a friend, and then the friend starts asking questions. And it just makes them really feel that they're on, the same level as you, and that you're treating them as a customer and almost as a friend. So yeah, that first question of, have you been into our center before? Because if they say no, and let's say you have, which I'm sure you do, have excellent food, you want to share. Hey, how have you? So you've never ate here before? Hey, some things I recommend are like our burgers or our wraps. Those are important things to get out there, because they might not have came with intention to eat. But if you're sharing that, hey, we have some excellent food here, or we've tried this, and if they have been there, hey, what do you usually eat? Oh, I usually get the burger. Hey, if you haven't tried one of the wraps, you should try one of those out. So those little things go a long way when sharing. So sharing is definitely caring when you give that information out to them.
Yeah, and it really, well, first of all, I want to say, um, let's take a step back, because if that's really important, to be able to have a conversation with your customers, and not all centers do take the time to do that. And granted, if you have a waiting list and you've got customers waiting, you can't take that kind of time with each customer every single time. I get that. But when you can, having that conversation starter is very, very important. And then for you to give them some feedback and some just to have a conversation. when you have an opportunity to weave your customer into your story, be it in conversation with the customer standing in front of you, or be it in social media, when you can include that customer and they feel like they're a part of that story, they start to take pride in that business. They start to feel loyal to that business because they are part of that story.
Yeah.
So when you do have that opportunity to share and bring that customer into the story, do so, because it creates a loyal customer for you.
Yeah.
So, the other thing I will say, and sharing is a broad topic, right? So we can cover a lot of things under
Yeah.
sharing is caring. But the other thing I want to mention is, when it comes to sharing, is if you are up for any kind of award, like with your local, like if you're up for best bowling center or whatever, Nickelodeon used to do best date night. They used to have a whole bunch of awards that were, if you're up for any kind of award for your center, and especially if you've won it, share that with your customer, because it helps them to take pride that they're going to a center that's been nominated as best bowling center, or they're going to a center that just won best date night out or best margarita or best bowling center. It also gives you clout.
Yeah.
It shows the customer that other people found you to be the best as well.
Yeah.
And it goes a long way. So don't be afraid to share those things.
Yeah,
It's
it's okay to
one,
let them
bragging.
brag for you. I used to do that with we lived in Arizona and the Phoenix Zoo was nominated like best, or not nominated, I think it won an award for best children's zoo in the United States. So like
Mhm.
people would be like, so what do you guys do around here? Or family would come to town. Oh, we'll take you to the zoo. They were nominated best children's zoo in the United States. Like, you're proud of those things to share with your friends or family, even though it's not your zoo. Hey, you want to let them know, hey, we got some cool things to take you to see. So, somebody might share that with, hey, let me take you over to this bowling center or this business down here. They got nominated, or they were nominated for best, best remodel or best, it's going to cause people to want to see it. So yeah, definitely let them brag for you.
Yeah, and I want to go back real quick to something else regarding sharing with your customer and having a conversation with your customer and stuff. Encourage your employees to do that. Encourage your employees to ask that question of, are you new? Things along those lines. How did you find out about us? Things along those lines. But even when it comes to food, like you said, what are you getting today, or have you tried? Um, Talk to your staff and let them know it's okay for them to say, hey, my favorite thing on our menu is this, because I can guarantee you that everybody on your staff has a favorite on your menu. And they certainly wouldn't mind sharing that with someone. But you'd be surprised, because a lot of times customers do take that. I know when I go into a restaurant and I am not sure what I want to eat, and I've narrowed it down to 3 or 4 items. A lot of times I'll ask my wait staff, hey, what do you recommend?
Yeah.
Uh, and a lot of times I'll go with what they recommend. So
Yeah, and I'm big on, you let them know, have you tried our burgers before? And if they say no, oh wow, you got to try them. And sometimes somebody goes in to a business with their mindset on what they want already, but they might take that recommendation that you gave them, and it brings them back, because they're going to be like, hey, we should go back there. They mentioned the burgers. Next time we'll try a burger. So it's going to get them, it's going to get them a little curious to try it out, and they're either going to come back, order at that time, come back and try it again, or they might let somebody else know. The guy said the burgers are really good there. So you just never know where that's going to go. So there's, sharing
yeah,
is it's just only going to do good.
Yeah, and for those of you that have, a scoring system that has multiple games and multiple environments, like BestX, for example, or if you're a hyper bowling customer and it's brand new and your customer may not know it, take the time, let them recommend, a game or two, and have them go down and try it. Chances are they may not know about it, or they may take the time to try it because you recommended it. So
Yeah, I agree with
definitely.
that. The games is a big deal. People are blown away, especially if they haven't been into a center with newer scoring. when they say, so, usually you want to walk them down there, especially if they've never been there, just say, hey, here's some of your traditional bowling, maybe some different backgrounds here. We also have this, YouTunes where you could add your face to it, and it does a little jib jab type video, and they're like, oh, wow, really? And you see people having a blast down there on a game that they might not have known about if you didn't share that information with them. So that's definitely a big deal.
Yeah. So, well, listeners, I hope that you have enjoyed today's show. And definitely sharing is caring, and make sure that you take the time to share with your customers things that you have that they may not know about, because again, they're not mind readers. So take that opportunity to share with them some of the things that you do and that you offer as an experience at your center, so that they can take advantage of it. So, Orly, it's been a great show. I look forward to our next one.
As always, I'm looking forward to it too.
Listeners, thanks for joining today, and we'll see you next week on another episode of Seeds of Success.